start with Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman, because Marcus Freeman particularly stands out to me because if you listen to what Paul Schwartz had to say in the video where he talked about all of these candidates, he paused for a second when Marcus Freeman got brought up, and he kind of looked at it and he nodded his head, and then he said, I heard that the Giants hold him in high regard. That's what he said. And honestly, me too. I think Marcus Freeman is an awesome head coach for Notre Dame. When you look at what he's accomplished over the last 3 or 4 years, however long it's been, I believe he took over at the end of the 2021 season for just the bowl game, and then he coached 2022 and so on and so forth. But in that time, he has turned the Notre Dame college football program into a juggernaut. They went to the national championship last year. Of course, they lost to Ohio State, but they're back again. This very well be back in the college football playoffs, and who knows if they go on another run. But Marcus Freeman has his team play with heart. He has his team play with a sound defensive mind, and he is a leader of those young men. Now, pros and cons, though, of course, what are the cons? Well, he's pretty new to coaching, not just the head coaching, but coaching. Really only got to start in 2018. It's not like some of these other guys on this list who've been coaching for 20 odd years. Marcus Freeman is only 39 years old. He's young, and while he is a leader and he's had a lot of immediate early success, he doesn't have a ton of experience. And so that could be a barrier for him as he kind of maybe makes that jump into the NFL. But Alex, I want to get your take on Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame head coach, somebody that the Giants hold in high regard. I like him a lot, but do you think that might be the wrong path for the Giants to take to go after a guy who's a little bit less experienced?
I mean, listen, he is, in terms of less experience, like you said, he's like borderline not experienced at all. So, in terms of being a head coach, the NFL, college, much different ball game. But listen, we've gone the route of bringing in a coach who's already a head coach in Pat Shurmur. We brought in coordinators. We brought in special teams coaches. We brought in every ounce of talent from all around the freaking league that have had NFL experience, and none of them have worked, right? None of them have worked. All have NFL experience. None of them have worked. So the Giants are going to go with someone new, fresh, without that already existing head coaching experience at the NFL level. Like, you might as well go for the guy who's going to galvanize your team. Now, there's some things in terms of coaching and philosophy that I really like about him. He introduced a teaching tool called the Wise Men Plays, where he has his players study other teams' clips, good and bad, to learn decision making and situational awareness. So there's some interesting stuff there. He also was like, he embraces struggle. When teams struggle, and you're going to have those problems, you're going to have those issues, you're going to run into a bad game or two. How do you respond to that? Like, the one thing you'll say about Freeman is that his team fights and his team plays hard, and that's a requirement, right? Like, you play hard, you give everything you got, you don't dodge it, you don't dodge the accountability, you look it in the face and you kind of attack it. That's how you build winners. Winning is a mentality, winning is a mindset. The Giants have been taught to lose, and losing is also a mindset and a mentality. So, you kind of look at Freeman, what he's done with Notre Dame, like, they've built a winning mentality. I don't care about bringing in a head coach that is good for Jackson Dart. That's what Brian Dable was supposed to be. And like, they've been horrible this year. And despite the fact Jackson Dart's great, you need to have a coach who's going to be good for the team, and the coordinators and assistants are the ones that need to be good for Dart. So like, I think there's a layered approach to that, but whoever this head coach needs to be has got to be a leader of men. He has to have a culture of winning. This dude has broken many records for Notre Dame already. And, you just look at, there's some quotes, I'll read one to you. They say he's a leader of young men and who's learning the finer points of being a head coach day by day. He's a better head coach now than when he was hired. So he's taking big steps forward. He knows how to lead. Those are all really positive things to me. So, I'm not ruling him out because of inexperience. I like the fact that he leads a team and he doesn't lead an individual or just one unit.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to summarize the positives of Marcus Freeman. And I love that you kind of brought that up. He's a leader of these young men, but he's a leader of the whole team. He has a defensive background. He was a defensive coordinator prior to becoming a head coach, but that doesn't mean that he's strictly defensive. He's very much one of those CEO type of leaders that manages the entirety of that Notre Dame team and college football program. And I think that's what's made him so successful immediately in his head coaching career. I mean, literally immediate success there at Notre Dame, and really impressive success. He was the coach of the year for the 2024 season for all that he accomplished, and very well deserved, very well earned. And this is a guy that I think that the Giants should definitely have an interest in. I don't know if he's near the top of my list, Alex, but he's definitely not on the bottom half of it. I'll say that. I like Marcus Freeman. And if the Giants want to kind of embrace youth, they have a very young roster. They have some very exciting young pieces. Dart, Scadaboo, Neighbors, Carter, if they want to embrace that youth and go for a guy who can galvanize them, as you said, Marcus Freeman does make a lot of sense. And I guarantee you he would unlock that defense. That's for sure. Now, the questions, though, about inexperience and some of those other things, that does lend itself to one of the concerns that we've had, Alex. Can a guy like this hire great coordinators? That would be a big question mark for me. Does he have connections? Does he have networking experience to be able to say, okay, let me bring in this experienced OC or this experienced DC? In fact, I actually think that the Giants, if they were to hire Marcus Freeman as the head coach, good chance Mike Kafka gets retained as the offensive coordinator to keep that continuity for Jackson Dart. And I think that'll be true for several of these candidates that we're going to get to. But Marcus Freeman, really like him, guys. Let us know your thoughts on him down below.